keep it rolling. Bob and John. Sounds like a morning show. Bob and John.
Hey, so hopefully I do this right. This is my first go.
Yeah.
So I'm reading the question. So how can the project manager eliminate this risk? Because the project manager learns that one team member needs to complete a critical task that is outside of the project, resulting in a scheduling risk for the project. Okay. So looking at A, it says ask the team member to focus on the critical task and obtain additional resource from another department. Project manager learns that one team member needs to complete a critical task that is outside of the project. Okay, so I'm gonna say A is an option.
Okay.
But the tricky part with that is that we may not know the full understanding of how the resource is assigned to the project. Is he part of the main project team, or is he a resource that's borrowed from another department and he just has to, like, you know, go off and do this, like, keep the lights on type task and then come back. So I'm thinking about that one.
Okay.
Send a report to the project sponsor documenting non-compliance from the member's manager. I'm not sure. I definitely don't think that we're at that point yet. Okay. It's too, like, it's too firefighter type thing, and we're not really in a fire situation. It just says, hey, I need to run off and do this task. So that to me doesn't stand out. Tell the team member's manager to release the team member from outside the activities until the scheduled project activity is complete. Now, that is definitely a possibility, but I'm caught up on the first part of it where it says tell the team member's manager. I don't think most project managers have that kind of authority where they can just go to a project manager and say, hey, you know, do this or don't do that.
Understood.
D, meet the team's members manager and negotiate for an alternative time to complete the other task. So that is definitely a viable option. So if I'm in this scenario and I'm doing this as a PM, I'm going to, and again, the question is to eliminate this risk, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on just elimination of the risk and nothing else. I'm going to go with probably A on this one. I'm vacillating between A and D, but I feel more confident in A.
Just say, hey, we're here to do something. Let's get this done and obtain ask the project to focus on the handle that critical task. Let me get somebody else in here so that we don't have whatever.
To step in. Yep. Yeah, but that's my choice. But like I said, A or D, I'd probably mark this one as a review and come back to it. But again, I'd love to hear what other folks have to say.
Awesome. John, what are you going to do, dude?
I think I agree with Bob. If they have to eliminate this risk entirely, I would go with A. But if the risk wasn't to be eliminated and it was going to happen, I would D, negotiate.
Okay, that makes sense. And the risk being, like, you're using a scheduling risk for the project. So this person going off doing this thing creates, like, oh my God, we might not finish on our side or we'll get delayed and stuff like that. Okay. So we got John and Bob on there. Awesome. We got Lita, can you talk? You able? It's okay. Mike Barth, what are you thinking, dude?
I'm leaning towards D. I think that it's the most effective way to go ahead and tackle eliminating the risk overall for the scheduling problem. If, you know, see if there's a possibility to move it so it doesn't affect the scheduling. Okay.
You said D, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Eric Olson, you're on D as well. We'll create a 2 versus 2 fight. What do you got, Eric?
So when I read A, my concern is I would hate to tell my team member to go do the other thing and then ask for a resource that's not available. I would want to guarantee the resource is available. That's why I like negotiating to get what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Right.
Valid point.
Yeah, like if we flipped it, it's like obtain a resource that's competent, blah, 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 and then say, okay, let it go. I mean, yeah, that might be because you might let them go and you'd be like, oh, we might not even have walked, we might have walked into the risk. Yeah, like we might have just like let the ship go and be like, oh, we don't have any ships anymore. Oopsie. Okay, cool. Brittany's on A. Talk us through it, Brittany.
I was thinking A, he just made a valid point with D. However, with A, I chose it because one, it's a critical task that needs to be taken care of. And by obtaining a resource from another department, I would hope that it would just be more of a oversee on their part until they're done with the critical task.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Let's go one other. Who's on? Dwayne. Nice to meet you, man. What do you got? Nice to talk to you. We'll
Hi,
get you in
nice
there. Yeah, man. What do you think? Where do you?
Hey, I'm going to go with D. And the reason why I would say D is because with A, if you're obtaining an additional resource from another department, you could possibly increase the cost for that task.
Yeah.
So D makes the most sense because as a project manager, you want to find ways to solve whatever issue is there. And so with D, you could possibly negotiate with A in mind anyway. So I would say D is the primary choice.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it. Great. Appreciate it. We'll come back in a second. Eric, what you got? And then we'll make a decision.
So in the real world I live in, project managers tend to only care about their projects and they don't really give a lot of mind to other people's needs. When looking at these questions being on day 2, do we look at it from the perspective of I only care about my stuff as a project manager when answering these?
I wouldn't say as coldly as you initially said it. Like, I would think of it like you're going to try to do the best for both parties, but you're not going to give away your stuff. So it's not like you're like cold shouldering dudes, but you're going to talk about like, hey man, I got to talk to you about like what I got going over here. And if it so happens that they're like, solving cancer and babies, like, okay, maybe we can negotiate, but I got to take care of my guy and make sure it's going. But like, I wouldn't just straight give them like a, stiff arm, but I'd say like, we want to create commonality, work things out, find a long-term solution works for everybody, those kind of things.
Yeah,
Yes,
and all
ahead,
of those words that you just said, Scott, is part of that negotiation. So
yeah,
I like I said,
I mean, if they come to us and say like, dude, this is like save the company critical, then it's like, all right, then you're probably going to get the big bosses involved and say, hey, this guy says he's going to take my guy and he says it's going to like save the world. It's like, I mean, what are you going to do, man? Like they said they can give me a guy. I don't know. Like, you're going to work it out. There's going to be some working it out. And this is there. All right, Bob, you make the final decision, man.
If it's C, I'm going to be really pissed. But I think based on the comments that everybody has said, hopefully I didn't offend anybody with that comment, by the way. I'm gonna say D. I'm gonna say D just because it's based on negotiation portion of it. Yep.
I think that's fine. And you're working through it. You say, hey, help me understand. Let me work through this. I understand you say it's important. That's why we love this guy as well. He's doing his thing. Like, can we find a time? Because, you're putting me on against the wall because I'm worried about schedule and I got to get this thing done and stuff. So you're not hitting them off. That's good. Yep. No problem. Let's kill it. Good job.